All right, I'm back with another dose of Crypto Airdrop Alpha. I was sick for a little while, but I'm back now and there's tons of alpha to update you on. So let's not waste any time and hop right in. So the calendar for July is looking a little bit light compared to June. However, I'm sure it's going to get filled in as we move forward because we're still only on July 2nd and there is a lot happening. So just for starters, in case you missed the last week in airdrops, let me remind you of a few tokens that you can claim right now. The first is Blast. There's 30 days to claim this, and this started on June 26th, so you still have weeks left to do it, and currently the price of the token is at 2.2 cents. Now, I personally did not farm this one super actively, but I did claim and sell instantly all the tokens that I got. The next airdrop that you can claim now, if you want to take the early claiming penalty, is the ZEX token from Zeta. Now, this one I didn't claim instantly because I wanted to wait to get the full allocation. However, looking at the price chart of this, probably would have made sense to claim on day one and sell at 30 cents. Now, if you claimed and staked your tokens, you'll be participating in the Diamond Hand staking rewards campaign as well. For me personally, I was not planning on actually staking, but at this point, given the way that the price movement has gone, it feels bad to sell at this low price even after I get my full allocation. So we'll see what happens with this. I expect it's going to continue to dump a little bit actually until all of the claiming and jeeting is done. Next up, if you farmed the Kinto airdrop, you can claim your K tokens, but as I understand it, they're not actually liquid and transferable yet until they reach some TVL milestones. So kind of similar to what Eigenlayer is doing, where you can get the tokens in your wallet, but you can't do anything with them. Now, I didn't farm this one actively because they had a KYC process in order to even sign up for the airdrop. But if you did, of course, definitely go and claim your tokens. All right, next up, we've got the Particle airdrop, which is a dApp on Blast. So if you farm this one, you can claim your PTC tokens. And yeah, not much else to say about that. Moving on now, we've got a Puff claim. So if you've been farming the Puff meme coin airdrop campaign, you can claim your gold, potion, and vial, as well as your airdrop allocations for this chapter. Now, overall, I gotta say that chapter 1, 2, and 3 of the Puff airdrop campaign were excellent. They were new, they were unique, they introduced these interesting games, but honestly, in chapter 4 and 5, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. They were making a bunch of promises about new games and utility for the tokens, but really nothing actually happened. You just deposited your tokens for a couple weeks and then claimed the rewards. So we'll see what happens with chapter 6. I feel like this campaign had so much potential, but honestly in the last 2 chapters has really fallen off, and every time they promise something, it ends up being late or just not delivering at all. So yeah, well, hopefully they can round it up with a solid chapter 6, because this is leading into the next part of the Mantle ecosystem airdrop farming, which I'm going to get to in a second. But before I do that, I just wanted to remind you that there's another token you can claim, which is Intent X, the perp X on Mantle. So if you qualified for this airdrop, it was a vested airdrop where you get to claim 50% upfront, and then later on, you get to claim the remaining half. Well, now you can go back and claim the remaining amount of your airdrop, which I just did. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk now about new opportunities. And I'm gonna start out with the Mantle ecosystem because there's a lot going on and I wanted to make sure that everyone knows exactly what I'm doing. So for starters, with this Puff meme coin campaign, it looks like in chapter 6, there's no more bonding. So you don't need to lock up your Puff tokens or your METH in order to participate and get rewards. Now, while we don't know exactly what the final chapter, chapter 6, is going to entail, they've left some hints down here. So for starters, they say it's going to be based upon wallet reputation. So in chapter 1 or 2, I forget, I think chapter 2 actually, they gave bonuses to people that didn't sell Puff or that purchased more Puff. So it could be some stuff like that. But then also if we scroll down, it looks like all of those BMT tokens that we got for staking and bonding, our METH and Puff tokens, are going to be used to mint this new NFT collection, which is then going to have some sort of allocation for the new Cook token. So everything is super intermingled and complex, but yeah, I think that's what they're suggesting here. So all of those BMT tokens that we got are not going to be completely worthless. And then speaking of Cook, let's move now to that, because this is now one of my new primary airdrop farms. So I want to just briefly discuss the opportunity and what I'm doing. So for starters, in case you have no idea, Mantle just launched season 1 of this Metamorphosis just the other day. So you're still early, and this is going for 100 days. What they're doing is that they're launching a new liquid restaked token called CMETH, but then they're also launching a new points campaign where you can earn a share of the Cook token. So that's going to be the new governance token. equivalent to like ETH-Fi or Renzo's REZ token, stuff like that. And I think this is going to be a solid airdrop target because, of course, the restaking space has high value. The Mantle DAO, which is the organization that governs the Mantle chain, has a multi-billion-dollar treasury. And of course, I think they're going to have some solid marketing campaigns, and they're definitely in a position to actually take decent market share. Even though they launched their liquid staked ETH much later than a lot of the other ones, they still managed to come back and capture a pretty sizable portion of the total liquid staking market simply because of the vast size of their treasury and their solid marketing skills. So with all that said, I do think that this is going to be a decent opportunity, and there's a few different ways to earn a share of this new Cook airdrop. So the first one, which is most directly linked to this, is by earning Powder, or their version of points, by holding METH in your wallet or by using it in DeFi applications. So they've got a list here of how you can earn points, and there's different multipliers based on the different activities. So for starters, I just want to say you should be doing this stuff on the Mantle L2. You can actually hold Mantle ETH on Ethereum and use it in a few things, but you only get 5x Powder per day. So they're really incentivizing people to use the METH on the L2 because look at the multipliers you can get. You can get from 10x simply for holding it in your wallet all the way up to 40x if you provide liquidity. Now, I don't even have many points yet because just literally an hour ago, I unbonded my METH from the Puff staking contract. So what I've done with it for now is I've stuck it in Init Capital. Right now in this wallet, I've got 6.18 METH. Now, I'm going to actually rejig this a little bit. I'm going to take some and I'm going to put it in the hook feature and loop it up to give me leveraged positions that give me additional exposure to Mantle ETH. And that's really going to juice up the points totals. So that is my strategy. There's other ways that you can play this. You can deposit it into Carrick to farm another airdrop simultaneously, but then if you do that, you won't be able to access the leverage, for example. So that's why I'm using Init Capital. You can, of course, deposit it in a bunch of other DeFi money market apps, like Aurelius Finance as an example. If you provide liquidity, you do get multipliers, 40x or 30x, but the issue with that is you'll have to split your assets to provide the two assets in the liquidity pair. And when you do that, you'll only be earning points or powder for the METH portion of that. So that's why it's 40x versus 20x for just simply depositing it. It actually will work out approximately the same, except for Init Capital or other money markets, you can actually use leverage. So that is my play. Now, the other way to actually earn a share of the Cook token is by doing all this Puff stuff, which I've been talking about on the channel. But now that we're actually not locking or bonding METH in the Puff airdrop campaign, that frees up all that capital to actually actively farm this new Cook airdrop campaign. And then we'll see what happens with the Puff and the BMT tokens in order to actually get an additional share of Cook. Okay, moving on. Another new airdrop farming opportunity, which is potentially a solid one, is that Mitosis is now on Scroll, and you can use wrapped ETH on Scroll to farm Mitosis, which is a new 4-for-1 where you can hit Mitosis, Scroll. Hopefully they haven't actually enabled the Scroll marks or points for this, but I'm sure they will at some point. And then of course, EtherFi and EigenLayer. Now, in order to get wrapped ETH on Scroll, there's two main options. First, you can purchase it or stake it on a different chain and then bridge it to Scroll via Stargate, or you can just swap into it on Scroll by using a DEX or a DEX aggregator. I recommend using Jumper actually, because it's a multi-airdrop qualifier again. So yeah, I do think that this Mitosis play is a decent option, and I've put a solid chunk into there. I'm not going all in on the Metamorphosis campaign, but I've definitely also put a much more sizable position here. Okay, next up, let's talk about Linea. So they just launched a new LXP campaign. So yet another one. This is the third major LXP campaign. It's going to be going for 5 weeks. And in order to participate, you need to mint NFTs daily on layer 3. So super annoying, however, pretty easy. And you get some decent LXP for every single one of these that you mint. So probably worthwhile to actually follow through with this. Click a few buttons every day and get some LXP for this. Now, the only issue I foresee with this airdrop farm is that the SEC is now actively suing Consensus for unregistered securities listings. And this is an issue because Consensus is the company that owns Linea, owns MetaMask, and a bunch of other stuff as well. So I don't know what this means for the prospects of an airdrop, but it certainly isn't good. At best case scenario, I think it would probably delay things. I think they would have a hard time actually dropping a token while actively being sued by the SEC, and sometimes these lawsuits can take literally years, so I am definitely nervous about what this means for farming Linea. There's some news with the Jupiter tokens that are launching on the LFG launchpad. There's now a roadmap, so we can see that we're going to be getting the Sanctum Cloud airdrop in mid-July, and then dBridge's DBR token is going to be launching in early August. So these are the next two major airdrops that are coming with the Solana ecosystem, and both of them are launching on the Jupiter LFG launchpad. Also, we'll be able to claim staking rewards in early July, so at any point now, for actually staking and voting with Jupe tokens. So this is a pretty solid looking roadmap, and I will link this down below so you can check it out. Next up within the Solana ecosystem, we've got the dPioneers NFTs minting. So I deposited and purchased one of these a while back. Now they're actually mintable. So I claimed mine this morning. And this is an interesting new concept where you get this PFP NFT, but it's actually redeemable for tokens. So if you hit the redeem button, then you can actually cash it out and get SOL back. Of course, you can hold on to it, and there's going to be additional benefits and utility being announced, or you can sell it on secondary markets on Tensor, for example, or Magic Eden. So for me personally, I'm going to hold on to it for a while and see what they do with this, because they've been announcing new partnerships like with Animoca brands, and I'm curious to see how this plays with the DPIN ecosystem. Okay, next up, moving to Symbiotic Finance, which is the new EigenLayer competitor. There's new assets that you can now deposit, including ENA tokens and synthetic USDE tokens. So if you're looking for a new multi-airdrop farm involving Athena Finance and Symbiotic Finance, you can now join these two together to farm both of these airdrops. Then next up, I wanted to also mention that Chrome announced some details of what their airdrop is going to look like and who's going to be eligible. So you can check it out here, but the TLDR is that the OG NFTs from way back are going to be eligible, of course. Then if you participated in the Chroma Galaxy campaign and got the Quest Master NFT, then you're going to be on the list for the airdrop. But also, even if you didn't get Quest Master and the full set of NFTs and merge them, if you had high points in the Galaxy campaign, you might be eligible. Oh, and one thing to highlight here is that just transaction generator might actually get an allocation. Now for this, I'm assuming you need to be in the top 5%, 10%, something like that. But it's possible that even if you didn't get the official NFTs or anything like that, and you were just active on the network, you could actually still get an allocation from this. Okay, next up, some bad news is that the Ironclad Finance airdrop has been postponed. So not super bullish, of course. They limited their airdrop to only the top 888 wallets, and now they're pushing it back by multiple weeks. So we'll see what happens with this. I've never said that this is a primary farm. At best, this was a tertiary. In fact, actually, I was farming rather Mode, then Renzo and EigenLayer before Ironclad. Ironclad was kind of the fourth in this stack. Okay, next up for Parcel, a couple of updates. For starters, Perpetual Points Season 1 is over. They took a snapshot, and they're going to be airdropping new parcel allocations to people that participated. And then they finally announced that actual staking of the parcel token is coming. And hopefully this is going to be bullish for the actual price of the token, because since it dropped, I have honestly been a bag holder of this one, and I've been in it for the tech and the vibes, but if the price goes up, I might not be in it anymore. For the Mint Chain airdrop campaign, there's a few updates. For starters, if you are inactive for 7 consecutive days, meaning you don't visit your tree, collect the ME, and water your tree, then you'll get deductions in the actual points that you have. And then the other new update for Mint is that you can now steal ME from other people's trees if they don't check in and claim it themselves. And you can do this up to 5 times every 24 hours. So all you need to do is just go to the leaderboard, find someone else's tree, and if there's ME that you can steal from them, you'll be able to just snag it here. But definitely don't steal any of mine, right? All right, that is it for today's airdrop alpha. Lots of stuff packed in there, and I am now officially back, so you can expect more videos this week. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful, and have a great day.